welcome back to my channel. I have Alex back in a video with me for the first time in probably over a year since we've done a video. We've done one Q&A together. Anyway, I've been asked to do a parenting Q&A. A lot of you who have tuned into my channel or started following me when I was pregnant, so a lot of people, I think, I'm just assuming here, but I feel like a lot of you that have connected with my channel were maybe going through a similar thing. You were pregnant or just freshly had kids. So maybe that is why it's been asked for, and you have some questions that you want to ask, I guess, to see how we do things or our views or what's changed for us. So I put up a question box on my story the other day just to get some questions from you guys on Instagram, and there were so many questions. I've tried to shortlist some here. Honestly, haven't pre-read them with Alex, so nothing that we say is pre-planned. There's a lot, so let's get started. Also, actually, before we get started, the last Q&A, I feel like people don't really understand you and your dry Aussie humour. Maybe it's an Australian thing because other people find him so hilarious. You're not a You're just dry, and I love that that's just his humour, and I understand that. And I understand that some people also don't understand that. So it's okay not to understand his humour.
Love me or hate
just
me,
wanted to
baby.
address that. Okay, let's get started in the parenthood Q&A.
Let's do it.
How did pregnancy and how has parenthood affected your relationship? Well, let's break this down. How has pregnancy affected your relationship?
We're the same as we were 2 years ago, as we were 5 years ago, as we were 10 years ago, as
Are
we are
we?
now.
This is classic you. Doesn't like to analyse anything.
Never overanalyze things in a good way. Never anything negative.
Yeah, but surely like pregnancy has affected our relationship differently. Like, I don't know, maybe you look at me differently because I did. No, oh my God.
I don't.
I should have done this on my own.
I don't, though.
Surely you have a bit more respect for me carrying
Hey, all those
and
sort of
birthing
things.
Bowie.
Yeah, they're a bit deep, though, man.
Oh my God. I should hope so. So no?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Oh my God. I feel like when I was pregnant, there was times where there was a little bit of maybe jealousy towards Alex because he had a bit more freedom than me. Remember, like sometimes when he'd go have beers,
Go to the beers.
yeah, go to the gym or do things, there would be a little bit of resentment that you get to do all those things still and I don't. So that was definitely something that affected our relationship. Nothing big, it was just the occasional feelings of being a bit resentful, I guess, which I would address and communicate about. What about parenthood? How has that affected our relationship? I feel like it's given us, well, pros and cons. Pros, I feel like it's given us an appreciation of each other because parenthood is hard and it's hard doing it alone. It's so much easier doing it together. So there's an appreciation of how helpful it is to have each other and to go through this journey together, and an appreciation of seeing how each other have become parents and having this shared common interest or love, this interest in Bowie. Do you plan to have regular date days / date nights? We haven't yet, but we've definitely talked about...
We've had a couple.
We've had a couple of dates without Bowie, and we've talked about how, like, I haven't implemented it yet, but we've talked about how it would be good to have like a night every month or every fortnight where we go to dinner.
We're different to a lot of people. We go out for breakfast 4 days a week and go out for lunch 3 times a week.
Yeah, but
so
it's
like
different.
loses. I know it is different.
It
but
loses
like,
its...
we're still going
different.
out and about and things like that.
No, we're talking about without Bowie.
But I don't want to be without Bowie. He's a man. He's my little mate.
You got to have time without him.
We have. But we don't. To answer your question, no. Do you plan? We don't plan much at all as a couple. We're not very good planners.
But we have discussed that
And we
it
have
would be
done it.
good to do it. We just got to find the motivation to plan a babysitter, pre-plan a babysitter to look after him so we can do that. How did you handle the newborn phase without arguing? The newborn phase is a blur. I don't remember.
It's like keeping your head above
I feel
water.
like you're half in a love bubble though of so much excitement, everything's new and you're in that newborn bubble, but half of it is stressful and hard.
You don't really argue in that sense. It's just like...
I don't remember if we
I don't
argued
remember
much.
arguing
I feel like we argue probably more now because we're like getting more irritated with things in each other. Probably more the sleep thing.
I don't recall arguing at all because you just like look at him and we never argued during that stage. I can't remember it anyway.
How did you handle it without arguing? They do say the first year of parenting breaks down a lot of marriages, and I can totally understand that. We were pretty fortunate that Bowie was a pretty easy newborn. He slept relatively well. Like I only had to get up 2 to 3. He wasn't a newborn that was waking every hour to 2 hours. And with running a company together, we did have the flexibility to not have to go to work. Alex didn't have to go back to full-time work. I didn't have to go back to full-time work. We were very, very fortunate, and we do understand that we are very privileged and lucky to have this sort of dynamic and family home set up with our business. That stress has been taken away from the dynamic of being in the newborn bubble. So we are very fortunate for that, and we are lucky that he fed really well, breastfed really well, and he slept really well.
So super chill, with people.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes next time. There may be some more arguing if we have a baby that's getting us up every hour or every 2 hours combined with a toddler. But let me just say that we probably handled it because we did get lucky, and we are very lucky in our careers. What have you learned about each other through parenting? I've learned that you are a bit more stern than me. You're definitely going to be...
She's the softie.
I'm the softie. You're definitely going to be the...
authoritarian. The general.
I remember doing a Q&A when I was pregnant about... I think someone asked, what are your parenting styles and what styles do you like? And we were like, that's really weird. But now that we're at this point where he's starting to learn and we're starting to realize, okay, we need to... what do we do when he... has an emotional outburst, or what do we do if he's going to have a tantrum, or how do we discipline him, or how do we teach him things? And now I'm sort of like, oh, okay.
Makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, I kind of, what is my style? What is your style? We need to come...
What's our style?
We need to come together and have a style because we need to be consistent. What are some good resources to learn from? And that's really what's happening for us right now, actually. And yeah, if you guys have any tips or any resources for us, that would be great, because it's hard to know where to find good resources. And I've just started listening to a podcast. It is called, I've listened to 2 episodes. It's called Raising Good Humans. And I just listened to one on yelling and one on tantrums. And I'm going to probably listen to heaps more because I'm really enjoying it. But if you guys have any resources that you want to recommend to myself and others, please comment them down below, because yeah, I know others would really need to know this stuff, and I do too, because we're in the thick of trying to understand our parenting styles right now. What is the biggest challenge with parenthood?
It's not really challenging. It's maybe the sleep, that's the only thing.
But I also think it's challenging because you aren't taught these things, and I feel like you go off how you were raised or how others are raising their kids, and you're kind of just modeling what others do, but whether that's the best way, you don't know, and there's just so much to learn. I think that's the biggest challenge. It's pretty much like pregnancy in itself and birth are like a uni degree. There's so much to learn, and then when you have the baby, you're like, how do I keep it alive? There's just so much to learn, and I think that's the biggest challenge, is learning and hoping that you're doing it right. I mean, I don't think there's any right or wrong way.
There's definitely right or wrong. If you flog your child and... do things like there's definitely right or wrong.
That's true. For us right now, the biggest challenge has been sleep.
Yeah, he's just not sleeping through it, which it doesn't really matter. It's it doesn't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it would just be rude.
What about at 11 p.m?
If I'd rather him sleep through or not, I would rather him. But the fact that he doesn't, I don't care.
But I think
it's just
from
him.
6 to 12 months, your sleep has been our biggest challenge. What's the most rewarding thing about parenthood? I feel like once you become a parent, you understand.
You understand it. You don't understand it until you're there.
Because I didn't understand it before, but...
No one does.
Once you are a parent, the best way I have to describe it is when you get a puppy or when you have a dog and they are your whole world and you love them so much and care for them so much. It's kind of like that. This is how I explain it to my friends who have dogs, or my sister.
Times it by 1,000.
But it's like a puppy that you created. So it's it's a human, it's a mini human, and it's kind of like that level of puppy times 10. Not to say we don't love Oak. People say your life changes so much once you have a baby. How did you hold on to your identities?
You had endless time. You could do anything whenever, however, when you have a baby.
You could get out of bed. You could be like, tomorrow I'm getting up at 9 a.m.
Yeah, you just can't do that. We never did that.
You could be like, 7 p.m. What should we have for dinner? Do you want to just go out? Let's just go see what's open, what's
like a 9:15 viewing of your favourite movie. You're like, oh yeah, we'll go there.
Now everything has to be much more planned, thought out, and not as regular. Like if I want to go to the cinemas, I'll be like, okay, I really want to go see this movie, but it'll have to be a 7 p.m. time so I can still feed him and Alex can put him to bed. And then I'll have to go with a friend, or if we want to go together, we'll have to see, hey, can your mum come over and watch the monitor, or can the neighbours come over and watch the monitor? Things like that. You just have to like adapt. If we want to go to dinner, we have to pre-plan, make a booking. So that's probably like the biggest change for us, the freedom. And I think that's the same for like most parents. But in terms of our identity, I don't feel like...
I think we've changed. Well, we've become parents, so I suppose your identity changes in that sense. But like...
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know what my identity is.
Well, identity does change because like you talk... When you're around your friends who have children, there's so much more to talk about.
Not like, hey, how's work? You're like, hey, how's being a dad?
So your identity does shift, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just like a new stage of your life. It's like when you're in school, or you talked about school.
Then like when you buy a house, all you talk about is houses. And then when you get a dog, you talk with your friends about a dog and why the dog's in the house and why this and that. Like, it just like morphs.
Yeah. So your identity just, I guess...
Morphs.
Yeah. Morphs, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Has Alex surprised you in any way as a dad? Honestly, he hasn't surprised me because when...
We set the bar high, guys.
When we met, he always was very open and honest about the fact that he couldn't wait to one day be a dad. He's always been very honest about how much he loves kids. And so for me, it wasn't a surprise that he is a great dad, that he's so hands-on, that basically he's just such a great father and so involved. That's... hasn't surprised me at all. Yeah, honestly, I don't think anything's really surprised me about you.
Cool.
You're just a legend.
Thanks.
Love your dad. Thanks. For Alex, has your view of Ellie changed since witnessing birth and her becoming a mother?
Like, yes. Because pregnancy's mental.
Birth or pregnancy?
Both. Your body like stretches and like
yeah,
you go through so much hectic. Then birth is like another whole nother psycho thing. So in that sense, yeah, she's a trooper. But in the sense of no, because I just have always thought highly of her. So you know what I mean.
Oh, he's got away with words.
What a charmer.
What about me becoming a mother?
Oh yeah, you were terrible. You couldn't even hold children as a like when we first met. Like you were hopeless.
I was the opposite.
She was the opposite of me. I used to love kids and just like grab them, and she was like stiff as a board. Like, what do I do with it?
I was never like, I don't want to have kids.
Never,
I was never like, I'm not maternal. I don't want kids. I was just like, I haven't been around kids.
And I was around kids lots, so.
And he was so like, oh, I love kids. Like always like hands-on, chatting to kids. Like I could always see him being that guy that like taught kids sport. Or like did activities with kids, or like even like worked in like daycare or something, because I could just see you being that kind of person in your career because he was so good with kids. And for me, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, so Ellie's come leaps and bounds from the early days. Now she's like the mother of all mothers. Grabs the kids when we're around family and puts them to sleep. And
do I?
You did.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Don't act like you don't.
I still think holding someone else's baby is different to your own. Do you crave intimacy more or less? For me?
Less.
Less.
And mine just not more.
No different.
It's not like I'm like more because you've had a baby. Like, give me another one. No, just normal.
You haven't changed. And again, the next question carries on for this. Sex, is it the same? How do you find the time? So I guess this has been like a really common question because it's something that's, I guess, if you're in the same stage of life as us, and I guess when I speak to my friends who are in the same stage as me, it's really comforting to hear that we all feel the same way as women, and that we're not like weird or alone or there's something wrong with us. But for me, I crave it way less, and it's not the same and it's not as enjoyable because I'm still breastfeeding. And when you are breastfeeding, your hormones are different. And this is what my physio taught me post-birth. And I found it really comforting to learn that it wasn't something that was wrong with me. It's just a physiological change in my body because I am breastfeeding. So basically when you're breastfeeding, your body is trying not to be conducive to having another baby. That's why they say breastfeeding is like 70% effective in contraception, not 100% though, guys. And that's what my gynecologist obstetrician told me. But basically your body doesn't want to be conducive to it. So yeah, your hormones are at different levels, and because of that, you don't feel like having it. It's not as comfortable. Basically, all of the things that happen from the hormones, your hormone balance is out in terms of being ready for another baby. So your body isn't wanting it, and your body isn't going to make it pleasurable or comfortable, if that makes sense. But definitely go see a pelvic health physio, because they give you lots of great tips on how to, I guess, improve your intimacy or improve sex after babies. And it was probably the most valuable thing I did, and it's great to talk to a health professional about it if you have concerns, because there could be a general, like an actual medical condition or a medical concern post-birth. So if there is pain or there is issues, definitely go see your health professional. What was your most useful item when Bowie was a newborn?
Carrier.
The baby carrier.
The
Yeah,
baby
that's
carrier.
a good one.
Or that Docker-tot thing that he used to like sit and you could just take it in, it's really small.
Yep. Okay, so two things.
I'm going toilet.
We had a baby carrier. We had the Artipope Yin Yang baby carrier. It doesn't matter which one it was, but it was that brand. And it was probably our most useful thing, because when he was a newborn, we'd go for walks and we'd just strap him in and he just fell straight to sleep. They call it the 4th trimester because they still want to be close to their mums or dads and have that skin to skin, feel the heartbeat and feel the warmth. So I think strapping them on regularly is really good for regulating them and helping them to sleep and be happy and comfortable. So we really used that carrier so much, probably more than the pram, but we always brought the pram with us as like a trolley. Nowadays, he's almost 1 and we don't really use the carrier at all. Very, very rare. But for the newborn days, definitely recommend. The second thing was the Docker-tot or a baby lounger. We also had a Bubba Cloud. They're basically like a little lounge for your baby that you can just like place on your couch, and it's, I wish I had it, it's upstairs somewhere, and it's like a little, kind of like a donut, but long. We'll put a picture of one up here. They're really handy. We brought it everywhere so that we could put him down for naps anywhere. He also, for naps in the day when he was a newborn, we just pop him on the couch in it so he couldn't fall off. And they're quite snug in it because of the way it's designed. It makes them feel like they're in the uterus still because they're getting like hugged all around. And we also actually put it between us in the bed, and he slept in between that because it was just like, he was so much more settled when he was with us and between us, and it was just so easy to put him back in there after a feed and settle him. Of course, keeping safe sleeping in mind, keeping blankets and pillows away from your bub at all times. What strengthens your relationship these days? I think one of the biggest things is having our own time.
Oh, yeah, you gotta have your own time.
Like we
as a couple rarely have our own time.
We do a lot together. Well, that's why I think that strengthens us, because we do a lot together.
Everything.
And you do need space in order to be strong. So like on the weekend, he might go watch the football or go watch the UFC or go do something, play golf, do something that fills his cup. And I might go do something that fills my cup. Of course, we love on the weekend spending time together and doing things together, but it's just nice to have these moments of doing things for ourselves. And I guess that falls back into that keeping your identity thing. So for me, that might be like going shopping or hanging out with my friends, going for a massage or getting my nails done. They're things that fill up my cup. Do you still breastfeed, and did you feel lonely having to do it by yourself? Yes, I do still breastfeed Bowie, so we're about a year strong. In 5 days, it'll be a year. And it's going great. I breastfeed him probably first thing in the morning, once or twice in the day, before bed, and then once in the night. So probably 5 times in a 24-hour cycle. So I feel like one of the things that we really, not stuffed up, but yeah, probably stuffed up, was that we didn't bottle feed him much. And for that reason, he started, well, I think some babies do it anyway, but he stopped taking the bottle at about 6 months because we probably only did it once a day, if even.
Just refused.
Yeah, so we started just refusing altogether, which meant I was dependent to be the sole feeder, which is fine. I didn't feel lonely in that sense. And in the first months when he was a newborn, I mean, yeah, it does feel a little bit lonely because it is very, like, remember at the start, it just was constant, like
It's
every
a
2
full-time job.
hours. And the feed was like an hour, like 30 to an hour of feeding him. So it felt like my whole day revolved around feeding Bowie. Did it feel lonely? Not so much lonely because
Just do it.
we were in bed together
Yeah.
or here together. So I didn't feel like I felt lonely in it. And you were actually really good at the start. He would get up and get me a cup of tea and a biscuit because otherwise I'd fall asleep. I was watching Handmaid's Tale. So weird to watch that while you've got a newborn and breastfeeding. But I mean, it's so intense that it helped to keep me awake. But he would also once in the night get up and make me a tea and get me like a chocolate or something just to help keep me awake because it is quite a while of staying awake and I did want to stay awake to keep Bowie safe. You'd doze back off to sleep, but still it was nice because we got a TV in our bed and that was like game changer. I think if I didn't have the TV, I would probably feel a bit lonely because you'd be asleep and I'd be like, what do? I just go to sleep. Are Alex and Bowie plant-based too, or do they eat meat separately, and how do you manage this?
No,
So let's break
I'm
this
not.
down into Alex. He is not plant-based. He eats anything
Whatever I
and
want,
everything.
whenever I want. But in saying that, not to sound like a prick, we eat plant-based at home. And I'm 100% okay with that. But if I'm out with my mates and they order something or I'm at the pub, I'll just order what I want. But also, double down on in saying that, I would never order a steak. Like, I'm not a steak guy. Like, I might order like a chicken palmy or something like that. But I'm not like a steak guy. And if I'm out with Ellie, I rarely order meat just because, out of respect. But I might eat fish and seafood and stuff like that. But
You don't really eat much.
But I don't eat
seafood,
something, rarely, no, but I don't like to label anything. I just eat what I want when I want.
Yeah, I just feel like if you're with someone and, well, I mean, this is a deep, hard question because every relationship's different and everyone is plant-based for different reasons.
That's true.
And everyone is at a different level of,
Hectic.
I mean, if you
Like if
were...
you're chaining yourselves to like
Yeah, well, exactly.
pig
You couldn't
trucks,
be with someone who's in it.
Your
That's-
partner couldn't be a butcher.
Yeah, well, no, but they couldn't eat it occasionally with their mates because that would really upset you.
That's true.
It depends where you are and who you are as a person. Like for me personally, I am mostly plant-based diet. I have the occasional honey and oysters, and I do it for health reasons because I'm a dietitian nutritionist, and it was just the diet that felt most right for me and for human health, for me and the planet. Like, it doesn't bother me that other people aren't, and I understand that other people aren't. And for me, I just think like people eating more plant-based is a win for them and their health. And so him eating mostly plant-based at home, I think is a win. And yeah, I even feel like how his diet has changed has come a long way, and I feel like that's a huge achievement. And I'm not judgmental on other people's diets, just the way I respect when people aren't judgmental on my diet. In terms of Bowie,
Isn't either.
he hasn't eaten meat. He's eaten some types of seafood, rare occasions, and he's basically vegetarian, I would say.
Eggs.
He eats eggs and dairy, and
I don't
basically,
think he'll ever eat meat, as in like sit down and eat chicken until he's like
yeah, I don't know.
old enough to
I don't
make
know
the
where we're at
decision.
with that.
Yeah, of himself.
He eats the way that we eat, really. It's like a reflection of how we eat at home, but I also have made the active choice to give him the common allergens regularly. Regular exposure to allergens does help to decrease the chances of getting an allergy. So for me, that's really important, and I've decided for that reason that we do give him the common allergens, such as shellfish, such as eggs, such as all
Cheese
types of
brains.
nuts, soy, dairy, etc. Because we really don't want him to have any allergies, and if he does, it would be good to know, and that way we can be prepared in case something was to happen. Or yeah, I guess that's all I'm saying on the allergy stuff. I'm not an expert, but
Also, don't come at us in the comments section.
yeah. So he's like a hybrid of us, and I feel like I've answered this a few times. It's not news.
It's not news.
And I don't hide that. How do you cope with comparing yourself to other parents? I feel like the hardest thing for me, and I feel like this is for other parents, you do compare yourself to other people, me specifically to other influencers, I think.
Oh, okay.
When their houses are just like so tidy and perfect, and I never see like toys or mess, and I think like, how do they do that? How is their house always so tidy, and where is the toys and the mess? And that, I think, is where I really compare myself to.
We wouldn't compare ourselves to parents. Sometimes I see like a cool old dad and I'm like, yeah, I want to be like him. But that's not really a comparison. That's just like he's a cool dad.
But you do in a way though. Like I
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest thing for me is social media. That's the biggest place
I
for
don't
comparison.
follow, yeah.
He doesn't follow the kinds of accounts I follow, but like, I guess like seeing like, you know, other people like activities they're doing with their kids, or like if they're, I don't know how to explain this, but like their parenting styles, or like whether they co-sleep, or what they're feeding them, if they've chosen to do like puree or baby led weaning, you know, developmentally where their kids up to with their speech or with their walking. Like you do find yourself comparing. At the same time, I know how different kids are, because we were able to firsthand experience how developmentally Bowie was to our friends who had babies around the same time. And, you know, he may have sat up or crawled way quicker than the other ones, but then they've started walking and he hasn't started walking. So you can sort of see how they're just different.
So different.
And you can compare, but you can't let it get to you, because...
Yeah, but that's comparing kids, not like this saying comparing yourself to other parents.
Oh, to other parents.
No, we don't. We just say like, I don't think we do. We're just us. We don't really compare ourselves to other parents.
But I sort of look at some. I feel like you don't. Again, it's the social media. I sort of look at some and go like, oh, they're doing that. Okay, should we be doing that? Do you know what I mean?
No, but I'll agree. I'll agree.
I don't let it get to me though.
She does.
I do sometimes.
I don't.
But I might get good things from that. I might learn, compare, and go, oh, they're doing that. Oh, maybe I should change that.
Also
or maybe
in a positive way.
Yeah,
not like,
it can be
oh,
positive.
yeah,
you
true.
can compare and get positives from it. Oh, for Ellie, how did you know Alex was the one?
Just I'm a persistent mother.
I don't know if there's like a
There was
defining...
never like, it's not like in a movie where they're like, I walked down like some stairs and the sun's shining on me, and she was like, oh my god. Just over time, you just become the one. Like over the course of 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been together for 10 years now.
Even I can't even say there was never one. You didn't ask me the question, but I'll answer it. There was never one defining moment. It never. I don't.
I don't know if there ever really is.
Ever really is. Maybe there was. It's someone somewhere. But
Or maybe there was and we just haven't realised.
no, disagree.
But I think over the years you've proven to me that you are loyal, that you are trustworthy, that you are loving, caring. I feel like all your values...
More. Say more. Say more things. Nah.
All the values in you that I love, I think over the years I've learned...
Formed to be the one.
And realised that, yeah, I'm very lucky to have you and very lucky to have found you. How do you split responsibilities? We do split responsibilities.
Yeah, 100%. Like, Ellie baths him, I put him to bed, I wake up before midnight, I wake up when he wakes up in the morning, I change 97% of the nappies.
Excuse me.
Ellie cooks him dinner, we both feed him dinner.
I breastfeed him.
I clean his clothes and hang him out. Ellie breastfeeds him.
Excuse me, you're sounding like you do a lot more than me.
Just laying it out, baby.
I
What
read
else?
him books.
Yeah, like we don't like. There's no like thing on the fridge that says like your responsibilities and your responsibilities. Like it's not like she doesn't do things I do and I don't do things she does. I obviously can't breastfeed, but
And can we just go back to the clothes cleaning? I've never seen you soak his clothes before.
Ellie soaks. I
You do the
just
soaking,
I
he
let
does the loads.
The loads do the damage.
I do.
I think I'd pick it up if I did the loads.
I pick the outfits,
The-
and then we both dress him because that's typically quite a difficult task.
I like dressing him, but my outfits aren't nearly as cool as what I think they are.
Well, sometimes they're pretty good. Sometimes.
That's how we split. But yeah, there's no like what we can and can't do.
And we don't have scheduled parenting
Days,
times or
hours,
days. Like
yeah.
Mondays is usually our work day together because Alex's mum has Bowie. And then every other day other than that, it's kind of just like, oh, what's on for the day? Okay, you've got to do that. Okay, I'll have him for the morning. Or it's like, oh, we both got him. Okay.
Take him to work.
Yeah, we'll just take him with us.
You
or-
take him home, put him to bed, then I'll come home when he wakes up.
Yeah, we just kind of have to juggle it really on a day-to-day
It
basis.
is.
Yeah. Your favourite Bowie moment?
When he was born.
Oh, that's really sweet.
So
But
he
like, come on,
became
there's got to
Bowie.
be a better...
That's the best moment.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
There's no other better moment than him, becoming ours. Little
He's
me.
such a little cheeky devil butt.
When he on the floor was pretty funny. And painted the walls with it. I thought that was pretty funny.
I don't know if you guys would have seen that. I chose not to put that on my Instagram story.
Oh, I put it on mine.
Alex put it on his, but basically...
Full dad gram. Just get on it.
We put him for some nappy off time. It was actually your idea. Like, let's give him some nappy off time. And I was like, he hasn't done a poo yet. Is it like... Are you sure?
I changed his nappy from a poo.
Oh, okay.
But it was just a little nug.
I think, yeah.
And then he just
anyway,
snapped
we were like,
out
let's do some...
4 logs.
And then I looked over at him and I was like, what is he doing?
Put it near his mouth.
And then he was sitting over there on his playmat, thank God he was on the rug, with the poo, playing it with his hands and rubbing it on the window.
And squishing in the books. It was so gross.
Ooh, it was a mess. And I think I had to race him upstairs to the shower.
When he walked, that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, that was a good one. He did a little...
Like when he rolled, every moment, like when he first laughed, when he first rolled, when he first started, there's so many first
cute.
everything. It's like so
when he
good.
first says like words.
Yeah.
I love when he goes up to Oat and like just interacts. When they're just interacting, them two, it's so sweet. Are either of you trying to get Bowie to say mum or dad first?
He said dad first. So.
He did say dad first. Now
he says mum a lot more.
He says mum, yeah, like mama. And when he's sad, he probably says mama more.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably because he wants the baby. But he says both, like fluently now, and pretty much on cue. Like you can go like, "Who's that?" And you can go, "Mama." He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Tips on keeping romance alive.
Go on dates. Make time for each other. Buy some flowers when you don't do things wrong.
I'll give you a tip. For guys, get mum a Mother's Day present that is flowers and a card and tell her how special she is.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh. And I guess going back to one of the earlier questions for intimacy for the females, try to make, even if like you don't really feel like it, you kind of, for your husband or for your partner, you have to...
Have to is a huge
You don't have
statement.
to. You don't have to feel pressured to, but make effort.
Effort, yeah.
In intimacy or, yeah. Put some effort in even if you don't feel like
put some
it.
effort in as well. Like, go to the florist instead of the Coles $20 flowers. Like, just have a go, you dogs. Effort.
Okay, the products
effort. No.
The products you would recommend now having used them. I think that's baby products. I'm assuming that's what that means.
That mat? Oh, I was going to grab the camera. That mat's really good.
We have a...
It's like a baby mat, like a squishy...
We should do like a little pop-up of some... This is like a baby play mat. The Love to Dream swaddling suits where they have their little hands up when they're early. Great.
Docker-tot. Great.
The Hucker breast pump, manual breast pump. Great.
Don't know about that one.
The Booty Balm for nappy rash. Great. Oh, the Charlie chair for the shower. So
really good.
Also, I think that's really great for people who don't have baths because not everyone has a bath in their house. And you can get this little Charlie chair, shower chair, so that you can strap them in the shower with you. Don't cut the straps off either. And in saying that, high chairs, don't cut the straps off. You will need them one day. And then when your baby's crawling out of the chair, you'll have to get another one because you cut the straps off. The snooze like very highly talked about online, but I feel like it didn't work as well as it could have for us because
I didn't rate it.
We incorporated it a bit late. And I would love to see, we've kept it and I'm going to give it a shot again for our second baby because I'd love to see how it goes next time around.
We had
it's from day dot.
And it worked really well, and now he's not sleeping through. So like,
yeah, but at the time he slept through.
Yeah,
you know?
True that.
And it's the white noise. It gives you sleep analytics. They are safe. I think that's a really important thing because they're strapped in and they can't, there's nothing that can.
Over.
Yep. Oh, breast pads.
Ooh. Get them at the Wholesome store.
They are amazing. I don't really use them now because...
lactation under control.
But they were great initially. Anyway, that is all we're going to answer for today's video. It's probably gone on for way too long. I hope you found something useful and you can see the humour in Alex's personality this time because he's not really one for being on camera.
Love you.
But I'll see you guys in next week's video.